Coming up on Bloom, we're talking all things healthy love, sex, and relationships.
The more time you spend with one another, the better the communication, the better the trust, the better the social support that you can give one another. That's just time together, right? There's really nothing that can replace that. So the more time we spend independently, we get used to life without our partner.
And later, we'll tell you about a cutting-edge way to improve your vision. Plus, how Bloom's internship program launches students to new heights. We'll have all that and more as Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, starts now. I'm Gayle Guyardo. Welcome to Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We are talking healthy love today and spicing things up with top Tampa sex therapist, Dr. Gina Midyett. It is so great to see you.
Thank you. So great to be here.
So again, this is going to be an adult conversation. So if you have little ones in the room, now would be the time to get them out. But anyways, let's dive right into this. And it starts with desire. And a lot of people want to know, is my sexual desire normal?
Right, and sex starts in the mind. So sexual desire really is a mind thing. So you really have to make sure if you're having low sexual desire and you went to the doctor, you got checked, your hormones got checked, everything's normal, but you're still not feeling it, think about what's going on in your life. Are you stressed out? Is something going on in your relationship? And once you figure out that and your mind's in a good place, your sex drive will come back up.
And this next question, I think a lot of people wrestle with, whether they're new in a relationship or especially if they've been in a relationship long term. How can I improve my sexual performance?
Yeah, so sexual performance is about communication. So everybody has maybe these expectations on how they should be performing, how long, how often, but it really is about what you want in your relationship. You know, how much do you want it with that certain person you're with? So communicating with your partner about that, finding out that you're both on the same page, or maybe you're not on the same page, but once you work on those little kinks, then you'll be fine.
Okay, another common question that Dr. Gina gets a lot: how do I communicate my sexual needs to my partner?
Yes. Well, that's a huge one because there's a lot of shame sometimes behind sex and you're embarrassed to talk about it. But if there's something that's really bothering you, just talk about it. Just be vulnerable. And that's a hard thing to be, but just tell them what you're feeling, what you need, and just be honest. Look, I'm not feeling it, or I want you to do a little more of this or a little less of that, and just be open and honest, and you'll have great communication and great sex.
Okay, good to know. Now, this next one I think is kind of interesting. It kind of is associated with the first one we asked, but what do you do if you have low libido?
Okay, yeah, so the first thing we talked about was the mind, but if you have low libido, number one is go get checked, because there could be a problem with your hormones, and that is something that could be easily fixed. And there's also so many medications for men and for women that can help with that. But again, if you did all of that and everything's physically fine, low libido, check your mind. Go talk to therapists, talk to your partner. Maybe you need something more exciting in your relationship. You know, maybe you need to do a little more role playing or just try different positions or different experiences.
Yeah, because I was wondering too, you know, a lot of people are doing this hormone replenishment, and if both people aren't doing it, you might have the wife who's now super sexually charged and the husband's kind of trying playing catch up, or vice versa. I mean, you almost need to get on the same playing field with that as well.
And it's great that you brought that up, because we think of hormone replacement just for men, but you're right. A lot of times, especially nowadays, women are getting on hormones and they're more sexual than ever. And I'm noticing a trend in my office is that a lot of women have the high sex drive and the men have the low sex drive. So if that's the case, you're right. You both have to be on the same plan.
Yeah, because if as a guy gets older, he gets in his late 40s, 50s, naturally their libido goes down, and if women are staying on top of it, that could create a problem in the bedroom.
It does, absolutely. And then women start feeling, is there something wrong with me? Why don't you want me? But it really isn't about that. It's about both of you are just probably not on the same medical plan.
Okay, all right. Now this next question is, how do I navigate sexual orientation or gender identity concerns?
Yeah, so I get that question a lot. You know, there's a lot of people that come to me and say, I just don't know what my sexual orientation is, you know, what's going on. You know, that's just something that you just have to be really honest with yourself. I've had cases of couples that have come in and they're not having any sex at all. And at the end of the day, it ended up being one of them had a different sexual orientation. You know, they thought they were straight, but they weren't straight. So I think it's important to explore that if you're feeling that struggle, to really be honest with yourself, because you don't want to live an unhappy life.
And on the flip side, you might be, thinking that hey, maybe I could go in this direction, but it might just be a fantasy and you really are heterosexual.
Absolutely. So there's situations like that where they're just fantasies, and fantasies are okay, and a lot of people have shame on fantasies as well. Maybe you just wanted to think about it or watch it or talk about it, but it doesn't mean you want to actually engage in those acts, and that's okay.
All right, next up, this is a big question that I'm sure you get a lot. How do I recover from sexual trauma or past negative experiences? And again, we are going over questions that Dr. Gina gets a lot from her patients.
Yes, so a lot of times I get people that come to my office because they're not having good sexual experiences. And as I dig deep with them, I realize there's a lot of trauma that's going on. There was sexual trauma in their past and they haven't healed from it. So the way you navigate this is, first of all, you need to go to a professional because it's a very sensitive topic, and you could get re-traumatized. So what you do is you go to therapy, we talk about it, slowly bring it out, and learn to desensitize the trauma for you so you can start healing from it and have better sexual experiences with your partner.
Okay, the next question are, what are healthy boundaries in a sexual relationship?
Yeah, so this question I get with a lot of couples that want to explore things like more dominance or more S&M type of role playing, right? So with boundaries, it's important that you have code words that okay, we can try this, but I don't want you to go too far. Or if I feel like I'm uncomfortable and I say no, you need to stop. So those boundaries are very important so that you can keep the trust in a relationship.
Like the SNL thing, cacao.
Yeah, exactly. Have a safe word.
Here's another question. How can I reignite the spark in my long-term relationship?
Yeah, so relationships, they'll get boring after a while. Once you're with the same person for years and years and years, it can get a little boring, so you need to spice it up. So what do? Try new things. Outfits, role plays, different locations, talk about it, have fun with it. Sex shouldn't be boring. It should be fun and exciting, and it shouldn't be a chore. I get that from a lot of people. Oh, but it's just a chore, I'm so tired. So that's okay, you don't have to do it every day, but set aside a time when maybe you have children and you don't have the time. Put your kids to sleep and then do it and have fun with it.
Now, are there resources available for people if they want to educate themselves about sexual health and not have it be something like pornography, which is, we've had a lot of experts come on and say that's not realistic.
Right, and it's not realistic. And I think that we get unrealistic expectations when we watch too much pornography. Yes, there are resources. If you go online, there's a lot of different websites. You can just Google, sexual resources, sexual education. Obviously, going to a sex therapist doesn't have to be me, but any sex therapist would be able to help a couple or an individual with how to have healthier sex life.
All right. Any other things that you would like to share, Dr. Gina?
I think the main thing is to take the stigma away from sex. We live in a world now that there's so many resources. I mean, you just go on social media, you can find many answers and many ideas. I think it's just taking away the shame, being able to communicate with your partner, because sex is very important, especially in a relationship.
All right, Dr. Gina, thank you so much as always.
Thank you.
And we're going to share Dr. Gina's advice on BloomTampaBay.com. And Dr. Gina worked alongside our Bloom Tampa Bay digital reporter and producer, Brody Waddell, on an article trending right now about how to break free of sexual shame and guilt. Brody is joining us with his point of view when Bloom returns. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Living the Tampa Bay lifestyle means enjoying the sand, sun, and outdoors fun. So get out, get active, and nurture those healthy habits. Hey there, I'm Gayle, host of Bloom. Now there's a new all-inclusive place with everything you need to shape your lifestyle, boost your health, and improve your wellness. BloomTampaBay.com, Tampa Bay's premier health and wellness website, made to help you feel good. Whether you're a fitness fanatic, beauty buff, or just want to take your first step towards positive change, this free website is for you. See the Bay Area's hottest fitness products, the latest workout crazes, and learn nutrition tips from the experts. Plus, discover local events and experiences designed with your well-being in mind. Cultivate a healthy mind, body, and soul. Check out BloomTampaBay.com, your local health and wellness website. That's BloomTampaBay.com. We are back with Bloom's Healthy Love Edition. Top Tampa sex therapist and host of her podcast, Mental Intimacy, Dr. Gina Midyett, and Bloom Tampa Bay digital reporter and producer, Brody Waddell, join forces to roll out an article about how to break free of sexual shame and guilt. Brody, Dr. Gina, thank you again for joining us and sharing this incredible article.
Thank you for having us.
And we do want to, again, for all of you listening, we are going to be doing some adult conversation right now. So you have little ones in the room, now would be the time to distract them or usher them into the next room. So Brody, talk to me a little bit about this article and what's at the main center of it.
Yeah, we really wanted to dive into what is sexual shame and guilt. How does it affect like our sort of interpersonal relationships, and where does it come from, more importantly?
All right, so what did you share with Brody?
Yeah, so sexual shame and guilt, that is something that's so common that I'm seeing in couples and in individuals that come in to see me. And it's really a place of just discomfort, of not wanting to talk about sex. Like, why am I not able to have healthy sexual relationships with people? And it's really exploring, where does that shame and where does that guilt come from? And it can come from many different places. It could start as early onset childhood.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and you wouldn't think that this would be a place that they would talk about sex, but at church they went through a whole relationship series. And one of the things that they talked about is that early on, in a lot of places of worship, you're taught sex is bad, sex is bad, sex is bad, it's not good, it's not good, no, 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 no. And then, by not talking about it openly and honestly with youth at an early age, they can have a warped sense of what's going on.
Right. So there's a difference between wait to have sex when you get married, then sex is bad. And I feel, at least in my culture, when I was little in the Catholic Church, I was definitely told sex is bad, sex is bad. And I always had that called the Catholic guilt, right?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I was raised in the Catholic Church too.
Right.
And so is that something that you, as you did more research for your article, was that one of the things that stands out?
Yeah, absolutely. It all seems to go back to childhood, and it's so fascinating to me that almost like most of us, I feel like, have issues from childhood that we're still sort of holding on to, especially when it comes to sex.
Right.
Yeah, and so how do you break free of this? Because again, I think when it's rooted in childhood, it's hard to get that wiring to change up.
Yeah, so the way you work on that is just like any message that we received in childhood, it is conditioned in our subconscious mind. So we need to bring it out to the conscious level and start changing it, start challenging it. So our brains need evidence. I always tell people, give it some evidence. Why is sex not bad? So start teaching yourself every time you have a good experience, an intimate experience. Maybe instead of saying, oh, sex, maybe use the word intimacy. Find different ways to reframe sex for you so that you could tell your subconscious mind, that wasn't bad, and tap it in so you can release that shame.
Okay, and what are some other places that you found in researching your article that this is rooted in?
Well, your early relationships as well. I feel like if it's not like trauma from like growing up or abuse, really negative experiences with your early relationships, I feel like, can cause a lot of those issues, right?
Absolutely. Think about it. If you had a boyfriend in 8th grade and he, you guys kissed or something like that, and it was a bad experience, and then he dumps you. Now you're maybe as a young girl, you thought, oh, there's something wrong with me. I was a bad girl, and you shame yourself. So absolutely, early relationships can definitely leave those imprints in your mind. And again, breaking free from them by having new experiences, because I always say you can't erase your past, but you can replace it with new things and new experiences.
You guys have both touched on, and at the top of the show, Dr. Gina, you touched on this as well, that sexual trauma can play a big role in this, and I think it's far more prevalent than people think.
Yeah, and a lot of people are holding that inside them, and they're not talking about it. Because again, the shame behind sexual trauma, it's embarrassing to talk about. There's certain types of traumas that are a little easier maybe to talk about, but sex, nobody wants to talk about that. So it's definitely learning to release that from your mind.
And then I know something that was important to you to get out to your readers, Brody, is, you know, ways to overcome this.
Yeah, how do you deal with it? What do you do? Besides, like, because it takes an amazing amount of emotional intelligence to even be able to articulate to someone why you have these issues. And so, like, yeah, speaking to a professional like you, like, what sorts of other ways do you find that people can do on their own? Let's say not everyone can go to a therapist. Like, what are our options?
Well, number one, like you said, I think it's just even programs like this to let people know, like, don't be afraid to talk about it or to at least explore it. Like you said, maybe you can't talk to a therapist, but then you can go online, listen to podcasts. There's so many resources. Go on YouTube and listen to different therapists talk upon the topic. But number one is vulnerability and just having insight.
I love it. Guys, thank you so much for this. And what we're going to do is share this story on bloomtampabay.com. And we're super thrilled. Dr. Gina joined us on our podcast, The Bloom Health Club, in the WFLA Now Streaming Center to continue this incredible conversation. You can stream the full episode anytime on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this. You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging, saving lives through early detection. Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back. Prioritizing self-care and seeking partners who share a commitment to emotional health are just some of the 2024 love trends. Here to break it down for us is behavioral scientist and the author of 7 Layers of Successful Relationships, Dr. Gino Calora. Dr. Gino, as always, it's so great to see you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, Gayle.
So this is interesting. We're looking at, you know, trends, and one of them is living apart together, as well as parallel playtime. What are those?
All right. So living apart together, right? So imagine having a full-blown committed relationship. You love your partner so much, but you all do not cohabitate. So you have 2 separate households, 2 separate residences, right? And a parallel playtime is, look, we may not have to go out and do things together collectively, right? But we can both sit on the couch. You can read your book. I can watch YouTube, put some headphones in, right? We're doing individual activities, not together, but we are at least sharing the space together, right? These are trends that over the past 15 years, both have been on the rise increasingly.
Okay, I get the second one. And my husband might be watching hockey and I'm watching Netflix, but we're sitting in the same bed and we're together, and I love that. It makes me feel comfy because he's right there.
Yes.
But this living apart thing, and I'm hearing it's way more common than I thought. I mean, people will have 2 houses right next to each other sometimes, or a short drive away. Is that healthy for a relationship?
So this is where it gets interesting, right? Because no one relationship is the same, right? So different people have different interpretations of what health, and most importantly, independence. How important is being independent to the individual person, right? Some couples love doing everything collectively, right? We want to be together the entire time. We want to grow together, experience adversities together. Others say, you know what? You're your own person. I'm my own person. And we're literally physically going to live separate lives. Doesn't mean I don't love you and you don't love me, but we really want to foster a different kind of independence, right? So is it right or is it wrong? Can't say, all right? Whatever works and whatever is happy for that individual couple. But what I can tell you is these trends that we continue to see, believe it or not, Gayle, you are seeing it mostly in senior citizen populations. You are seeing couples as they get older want to have their own space, want to create a new sense of individuality because they have spent so much time with their partner throughout the years. They want a refresher of what it's like to be alone, right? So it doesn't mean they don't love their partner, but they do want that independent quality time.
This whole segment is making me realize just how needy I am. I can't envision this in my life, but as you said, to each his own, and what works for your relationship works. Are there any risks involved with doing this?
So unfortunately, yes, right? And so here's the thing. When you are in a committed relationship, right, look, the more time you spend with one another, the better the communication, the better the trust, the better the social support that you can give one another. That's just time together, right? There's really nothing that can replace that. So the more time we spend independently, we get used to life without our partner. And if your partner truly is that important to you, you don't want to experience life without them all the time. Is it important to have independence? Of course it is. But how much do you want? Right? Because again, the whole entire purpose of a relationship is commitment and growth together. In order to have commitment and growth together, you have to be together. So that is the risk.
So let's go back to some of the other ones that we were talking about earlier, and that is this whole movement of self-care and trying to choose a partner that you are emotionally connected with from the get-go. Instead of growing together, try to find somebody with the same kind of like emotional needs.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And so this is where However, having a complementary partner, so someone who can pick you up when you're down and vice versa, that's important. But here's the thing. To negate growth together, look, growth requires what? Adversity. You have to go through challenges together. You have to be able to experience hardship together. That's what makes you tougher and stronger and more resilient. So to not have that, are you doing your relationship a bit of a disservice? Absolutely you are. But again, there's many ways to cut a pie to happiness. So it just depends on what it is that makes you happy, your partner happy, and collectively what makes you both happy.
Now, I know you individually coach a lot of people on all aspects of life, not just relationships, even though that is one of your specialties. Are you seeing any trends that we should know about?
You know, one of the biggest things that I am finding, there are gaps in communication that are happening within relationships, and most importantly, the relationship that individuals have with themselves. Now, what do I mean by that? In order to be able to take a step back from all the noise society is pushing on us, you have to really have a different level of confidence, a different level of belief in who you are, and what you're capable of, and what you need, not just here, but with someone you're going to choose to spend your life with. So yes, I would tell you the past 7 years, I have been spending an immense amount of time helping people bolster that ability to really listen and dive into who they are as an individual, because it's becoming more and more difficult.
It is becoming more and more difficult, and if you don't have a handle on that, then you're going to start relying heavily on the other person to complete you, and that could be a recipe for disaster.
Big time, right? So over-dependence is never a good thing, right? It's important to have that idea, I can trust my partner, they're going to be there for me. But at the same time, to look at them for every waking need that I have, it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you. You're doing yourself a huge disservice, but you have to identify and manage that within your life.
Very interesting stuff. Dr. Gino, as always, it's such a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you so much, Gail. You too.
We're going to share Dr. Gino's advice on BloomTampaBay.com. And before we go to break, it's time for today's Bloom Trivia question. What is the most popular dating app in the U.S.? Bumble, Tinder, or Plenty of Fish? We'll have the answer later on Bloom.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Newsome Eye.
We've been hearing a lot about the light adjustable procedure, a cutting-edge surgery done right here in Tampa at Newsome Eye. It's the first and only lens that can be customized after cataract surgery. Joining us now is Newsome Eye cataract refractive and glaucoma surgeon, Dr. Brian Szabo, along with American entrepreneur, business executive, and original shark on Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington. Welcome to Bloom, guys.
Hey, Gail, how you doing?
Great to be here. Thank you.
Great to have you. So, Dr. Szabo, we'll start with you. How is the light adjustable lens different from other lenses, and who's a good candidate for this?
So the biggest thing with this lens, it's the only lens, like you said, that can be adjusted after cataract surgery. So the coolest thing about it is I can put it in a patient's eye, and then they can go home and they can test drive their vision. And then they come back in and they say, hey, doc, I need more distance vision, I need more near vision. And I can literally go back in with light and adjust it to give them exactly what they want.
And Kevin, who's been on our show many times, an original shark on the popular series Shark Tank, but you're here today as a patient of Newsome Eyes.
Yes, because I had the cataract surgery done, and it was a terrible story. One of my relatives had cataract surgery, and the surgery didn't work well, and they had to have it all redone. Whereas with this cataract surgery, the lenses are adjustable, so after they put them in, I wanted to be a little bit better on the reading side, so they went in and adjusted those with the lenses in my eyes. These are like bionic eyes now, so it's just like having lenses in your eyes that could be adjusted at the time that they install them, and then I'm off to the races now. I can read close up. I haven't been able to read for 25 years, and I read like a hawk now. It's unbelievable.
That is incredible, and we always joke that Kevin really is like a shark. He's always moving, even when he's sleeping, and for you, this must be a game changer.
Well, you know, I get a lot of pitches. I'm reading financial documents, and so to be able to not need glasses, distance, I don't need glasses for distance anymore. I had distance glasses, reading glasses, they're all gone, and I am in beautiful shape. And I found out the reason I chose Newsome is because when I did the research on the company, my eye doctor actually referred me to a competitor of theirs because they said, Dr. Newsome, Dr. Szabo, they have developed the most sophisticated technology in cataract surgery to be able to change the vision. And so that I found out Dr. Newsom 12 years ago had been with the FDA developing this whole protocol for all this. So he is the guy in this business. They have done more surgeries in this world than anybody else in America, and I think in the world, actually.
For the adjustable lens.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Zabo, that's what brought you to Tampa, Florida, is
Yes.
because to work under an umbrella of a doctor that was doing this from the very beginning.
Right, that's the whole reason I came to the area and to study with Dr. Newsom to learn how to use this exact lens that we put in Kevin's eye. Because I do truly think it's the future of cataract surgery, because I can adjust it afterwards to really give the patient exactly what they want.
Why take the chance that and when you get the cataract surgery done, that the lens doesn't work and it's wrong and they've got to go back and redo it, whereas with the LAL, the adjustable, you can change it just to the needs of your particular situation. It's awesome.
Remarkable.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Kevin, for sharing your story. I know it really helps our viewers to hear a first-hand account from a patient. Dr. Zabo, as always, it's a pleasure seeing you.
Thanks for having us.
And you can visit newsomeye.com or call 813-908-2020, that's 2020, to schedule your appointment today. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Newsom Eye.
You're watching Bloom, presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We begin where your checkup ends. Call now, 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today. Welcome back to Bloom. Dating apps like Bumble say 2024 is set to be the year of self, with more people looking inward and what they value and want out of a partnership. Joining me now with more certified life coach and matchmaker, Dr. Nancy Wall. Dr. Wall, welcome to Bloom.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me.
So we talk a lot about healthy dating today, but it's harder than ever before.
Yeah, 47% of Americans are saying now that dating is a lot more difficult than it was 10 years ago because of scams, because people just aren't upfront and honest, because sometimes the people aren't even people.
And we're talking about finding love on dating apps, which I did not realize have taken a tumble. They're not as popular as they used to be.
No, a lot of these companies, Bumble, Match Group, are reporting a decrease in people using their apps just because of these scams and people finding other means because they don't trust the apps anymore because it's risky.
Well, I think the app started off really well intended. You know, you try to find like-minded people. I've met a lot of people that have met through dating apps, but now, you know, I hear more and more complaints of people just want to hook up. They take advantage, you know, it's a prime spot for scams. So how do people find love in 2024?
Yeah. So there are a lot of different ways. Some people are still using the apps, which is fine. Get out there, be ready to date. Put yourself in your best position to be attractive to other people. Volunteer, take classes in things that you're interested in. Tell all your friends, family members, people you meet that you're interested in meeting somebody. Be open and transparent, and it only takes one person.
It only takes one person. That's a good idea. So I like that. You know, you put yourself out there, find places to be where you might meet like-minded people. Any other advice? Like when you say be ready to date, what do you mean by that?
Are you healed from your past relationship? When you talk about a past relationship or a breakup that you had, are you still emotional? Are you crying, you know, tears coming to your eyes? Do you feel you're in the best physical shape and mental shape to be able to meet somebody? Are you open to meeting somebody and knowing what kind of relationship you're really looking for? Are you looking for a committed relationship? Are you looking for marriage? What really are your goals? And put those out there so that you are ready and you're finding and attracting the right person.
And how do you define healthy goals?
That's something that I work with my clients on to really see what's healthy for them. A lot of times people go directly to the opposite extreme of the person that they were with before, the relationship they had before, and that's not necessarily healthy. We see that a lot with people in Hollywood. And so it's really a matter of honing in on what's going to work for you and why are those things so important. You know, religion, family, age, you know, the height of the person is probably not as important. How much that person's actually making is probably not as important. But if you're allergic to animals, then you probably don't want someone who's a veterinarian. Right. You know, if religion is really important. So really honing in on those things, your must-haves or must-not-haves.
So what is it like being a modern day matchmaker?
Oh, it's great. It's wonderful. I'm passionate about helping singles connect, but it's a hard job. It's a matter of really finding the right people based on that balance and making sure that people understand what's going to be best for them.
Where do you see people going wrong when they go into the dating world?
They're out there, they think everybody is the right person for them. They're going out, they're being very vulnerable. They're being very open, sharing their whole life history, which isn't necessarily the most best way to meet somebody.
So when you do go out on that first date, are you saying keep it a little bit more surface? They don't need to know everything about you on date one.
That's right. Don't be an open book totally, but definitely those things that you've decided are most critical, most important for you in a partner, put those on the table. Why waste your time? Why waste the other person's time? Actually, people appreciate the honesty, even though it might be hurtful at the beginning, because there might be the attraction there or something else. If you are honest and open with the person, it really helps. And that person might know somebody. If they're not right for you, they might know somebody else and introduce you to somebody based on what you've shared with them.
That's happened?
Absolutely, it's happened.
That's really, really interesting. So you're saying be authentic on that first date. Kind of lay out, what your hopes and dreams are for a relationship. Just don't go overboard.
Don't scare the person, and don't make it an interview. Don't make it an interrogation. Have a nice conversation and really go into it meeting somebody who could be a nice new single friend for
I like
you.
that, like a wingman of sorts.
Exactly.
All
exactly.
right, all right. It's such a pleasure catching up with you. Thanks for joining us on Bloom.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to share Dr. Nancy Wall's tips on BloomTampaBay.com. And up next, get a behind-the-scenes look at Bloom's expansive internship program and see firsthand the incredible work one of our past interns is doing when Bloom returns. Welcome back. The Bloom team is big on helping our youth blossom. Our internship program draws in some of the top up-and-coming talent in the industry, and we work tirelessly to help them thrive through hands-on experiences both out in the studio and out in the field. So we wanted to brag a little bit about one of our recent interns, Christian Andrade, who's out there slaying it, and we could not be more proud of him. Christian shot and edited together this story about kids living a ninja life. Take a look.
That's Austin Dale. He's been training here at Oconee Ninja World for over 2 years now.
I usually just say it's like gymnastics without rules, or something like that. Freestyle tumbling.
Austin constantly puts in the work, always perfecting his craft. And since he's first started training for Ninja, he's come a very long way.
I've definitely become more physically fit.
Fitness is crucial in a sport like Ninja, a sport with such a wide variety of skills and movements.
Like people jumping over obstacles, doing kicks, flips, back flips, you name it, just acrobatic things,
And that's exactly what the little ninjas at Oconee Ninja World love so much about the sport.
The TV show American Ninja Warrior first aired in December of 2009. Since then, the Ninja Guide website claims that nearly 400 ninja gyms just like this one have popped up around the U.S.
The sport is growing like crazy. I mean, I'd compare it to pickleball or frisbee golf and how fast this sport is gaining traction.
And just like frisbee golf or pickleball, you don't have to be a 5-star athlete if you just want to try out Ninja.
Go, go, go! It's for everyone, no matter your size, no matter your height, no matter anything.
But just like anything else in life, if you want to really excel, it takes a whole lot more than just showing up.
There's definitely a lot of explosive power you need. A lot of technique is very necessary. So I think those are the big things you need.
But whether your kids want to be the next American Ninja Warrior, or if they just want to have a good time, there's still plenty of benefits that the sport of Ninja provides.
For at least for my kids that I teach come across, I know that it is motivational for them.
And at the end of the day, who wouldn't want to be able to say that I'm a ninja?
Nicely done. And joining me now is up-and-coming reporter and TV talent and University of Georgia student journalist Christian Andrade. Christian, what a great story. It is so good to see you.
Thank you, Gayle. Good to see you too.
So I know you're coming to us live from one of your classes at the University of Georgia, where I'm sure all of your fellow classmates are so proud of you. Congratulations on winning the 2024 Innovator of the Year Award.
Oh, thank you so much, Gayle.
So Christian, tell me more about the sport of ninja and why you were so passionate about sharing this story.
Yeah, so I was really passionate about sharing this story just because ninja's a fairly new sport, as you heard, and I really feel like it's gonna be taken over. It actually might be in the next up-and-coming Olympics as obstacle racing. So I just felt like that was a pretty newsworthy story. And I'm actually a coach at Oconee Ninja World, so I'm pretty passionate about it myself too. So I wanted to get the word out there.
And in addition to being a ninja, and I'm so glad you are getting the word out about it, because, you know, the popular TV show American Ninja, and then now there's little ninjas up and coming through the ranks, but you're also very, very skilled at boxing as well.
Yes, ma'am, of course. I'm the current two-time state champ in Georgia and also the Southeast regional champ in the southeast of the United States. So
That
yeah,
is nice. And
that's one of my passions.
No, we got some pictures of you there, man. You are a jack of all trades, that's for sure. Is there anything that Christian can't do? And some other fun pictures that we want to share with our viewers. You got to go on the set of Good Morning America, The View, The Today Show. I mean, you were rubbing elbows with all the top dogs.
Yeah, that's me with Robin Roberts right there.
Yeah.
There's Michael Strahan. They good people. They're real good people.
So tell me, what is next for you besides, you know, being a ninja, boxing, hanging out with network TV talent?
Okay, I can go ahead and tell you my vision. I think I may have already told you this, Gayle, but I'll go ahead and let everyone else know. So after college, I'm going to be a reporter for a little bit, and that's how I'm going to build up my brand, build up my name for boxing, and then I'm going to become the lightweight champion of the world and do that for a little bit. And then I'll probably go win American Ninja Warrior at some point too. But yeah, I'll be doing news along the way. I love reporting. That's my thing. So yeah.
Oh, I love it, Christian. Well, you've got a lot of drive. You were an amazing intern for us here at Bloom, and all of us on the Bloom team are so incredibly proud of you. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Gayle. Miss y'all.
We miss you too. We're going to share Christian's story on BloomTampaBay.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The following portion of Bloom is sponsored by Glaukos Corporation.
There is a progressive eye disease called keratoconus, or KC, that can lead to significant vision loss if left undiagnosed and untreated. And unfortunately, KC is often underdiagnosed, so it's important to stay on top of your vision health. Joining us now with the top things you need to know is board-certified ophthalmologist and cornea specialist, Dr. Neil Desine. Dr. Neil Desine, welcome to Bloom.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's talk about the importance of having good vision care to begin with.
Sure, our eyes are so important to us. Our sense of vision is the most important sense for most of us. And so good regular eye care and attention is important for every stage in life, including our younger patients. And one of those conditions that we look for is keratoconus, that unfortunately can be a relatively sneaky disease. It affects the clear part of the eye, the dome-shaped clear windshield of the eye, the cornea. And this condition is really defined by a weakening or a warping of that clear cornea into a rather distorted shape. And so patients may begin to notice that their vision is changing, getting progressively worse. Their eye care doctor may not be able to correct their vision to perfect 20/20 vision any longer with glasses. Then eventually they can't get corrected with contact lenses. And so we want to catch this condition early enough so that it can be treated appropriately.
And this is something that you specialize in, even bringing it FDA approval here in the United States.
That's right. We're very proud. My practice, the Eye Institute of West Florida here in Tampa, partnered with the American European Congress of Ophthalmology back in 2015 to bring this treatment, this vision-saving treatment, here to the United States. It had been performed abroad for about 40 years, but it took a lot of work and some collaboration with these different organizations including Avidro, the company, and Glaukos, the company that manufactures this device and this treatment, to bring it here and to make it available to patients here in the U.S.
Now, what if this is left untreated or undiagnosed?
It's a great question. If this were not to be caught early enough, patients will not have correctable vision and not functional vision until they get a corneal transplant. And I certainly specialize in doing corneal transplants. We're quite good at them. The techniques have certainly improved over the years. But the best corneal transplant I've ever done, or any surgeon has ever done, is the one that was not needed in the first place. And so if we can catch these patients with keratoconus and early signs of keratoconus soon enough at a milder stage, collagen cross-linking, this treatment that is now FDA approved since 2016, can help them stop the progression and halt the progression of that condition, making it easier to get corrected to perfect 20/20 vision with glasses or contacts, and help them avoid the need for that corneal transplant procedure.
And I think that just drives home the message that you're available for patients of all ages. So the sooner you start getting these regular eye exams and get on top of your eye health, the better you are.
Absolutely. This treatment uniquely is a very simple treatment. It takes under an hour to do. It's a more boring treatment, as I tell my patients, than anything else. It's not painful, and it only needs to be uniquely done one time per eye per lifetime. And so if we catch these patients early enough and they come in and be screened and we do the collagen cross-linking treatment, they can avoid further vision problems down the road.
Doctor, thank you so much. This has been fascinating to learn about.
My pleasure.
And to learn more about this, including symptoms, treatment options, and how to find a doctor, visit livingwithkc.com. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.
The preceding portion of Bloom was sponsored by Glaukos Corporation.
It's time for today's Bloom trivia question. What is the most popular dating app in the U.S.? Bumble, Tinder, or Plenty of Fish? The answer is kind of tricky because according to Statista Consumer Insights, Bumble and Tinder are tied at 38% each, with Plenty of Fish coming in at third place. Plenty of Fish, a Christian-based app, tends to be more popular with daters over 30, especially those in their late 40s to early 50s. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Bloom today. You can catch Bloom anytime by following us on social media. We're on all major platforms, so get a behind-the-scenes look at all of the innovative breakthrough health and wellness conversations and incredible guests that we have right here on Bloom. And don't forget to check out our podcast, The Bloom Health Club. You can catch it live on Facebook and YouTube on Mondays at 2 p.m. We take a deep dive and have extended conversations with some of the top guests that we have right here on Bloom. Of course, you can stream episodes anytime on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Well, we hope you'll tune in again on the next Bloom presented by Lifeguard Imaging. We're celebrating National Nutrition Month with double certified nutritionist Martha Van Camp, who is joining us to bust some of the top nutrition myths. And the author of You Can't Outrun Your Fork, Dr. Anya Zaghetti, is joining us in the Bloom Kitchen. So stay healthy, everyone, and I will see you on the next Bloom.
Content segments during Bloom were paid for by Newsom Eye and Glaukos Corporation.
Call now 813-582-5222 to schedule your scan today.